Hey, fuckers. Thanks for tuning in. I've got a little follow up and a listener question to address per the asceticism and self deprivation post that we recently went through. A listener contacted me and asked, why can't I show my pleasure or my enjoyment to others? When they do nice things for me, I want to acknowledge the enjoyment that I've reaped as a reward, but I can't bring myself to do it. What do you think that's about? Here's my guess. Perhaps it feels like giving power away to others if you admit when they've done something positive for you. Admit being in quotes here. So maybe there was an occasion in your past when you were happy about something that a social associate did for you, which then somehow indebted you to them long term or was meant to let them off the hook in some way, or some acute tit for tat payback was expected. I'm guessing that someone did something nice for you. You expressed your enjoyment, your pleasure from that action, and then it was turned around to somehow become a negative in your experience. So now, demonstration of your happiness to others feels dangerous, or like it's very likely to open a whole can of trauma worms. And also, I would guess that manager parts are playing some kind of a role here based on the uncontrollable nature of the question. AKA, you said, I want to show people that I'm happy, but I just can't seem to do it. So I would think that probably this guy over here, Mr. Manager Pants, learned that it was unsafe to display pleasure. And now he won't let the rest of the company, aka your psyche, do any of that to this day. Even if parts of you want to express themselves openly in a relationship, some kind of reigning, control hungry, safety obsessed part of you shuts it down. And it probably feels very out of your control, like it's unconscious and beyond your ability to change it. Creating that I want to, but I just cannot experience that was described. So, my suggestion is that you search for subconscious memories of showing someone that they pleased you, which then had negative ramifications, long or short term, real or assumed. Then imagine doing that again. Sit with yourself and imagine thanking someone and demonstrating your enjoyment in response to something that they've done. Step 2, feel the discomfort, the anxiety, the panic, or the no answer that emerges inside of you. And it might be very subtle and sneaky, considering it sounds like this is such an unconscious process for you. But number 3, really sit and feel into that feeling, into that experience as much as you can. Try to amplify the feeling. Try to notice and name and describe where it is in you, and try to send your consciousness to that place to experience that feeling as much as you possibly can. Number 4, while you're doing this, also be watching and listening to the images and the audio files between your ears. And 5, see if any old memory comes up of negative consequences for positive emotional expression. And it might not be that straightforward. You might not see a whole movie clip. It might be a quick image or a short phrase that somebody said. It might be completely detached from the actual experience of demonstrating joy and the punishment that befell you. It could be somebody modeling this behavior for you or explicitly describing it. So just look for tiny little clues, not like a full length movie that's going to reveal the entire story. And it might take a while for you to get your answer. If you do this once, you might get nothing in return. But if you do this repeatedly, you might start to get flashes or pieces of words between your ears while you're going through routine activities in your day to day. Just watch your subconscious consistently as you go through your normal activities, especially when you're engaging in kind of flowy, cognitively releasing behaviors, your shower thoughts or cleaning thoughts, when you're driving, when you're at the grocery store, whatever. Just try to keep an eye internally on what's happening in the images behind your eyeballs. An old memory that seems kind of weird to retain for so long might suddenly show itself and have this previously unseen relevancy to the mystery that you're trying to solve. That's the way of the subconscious. And that is why you've carried that memory for so long, if something does emerge. These little fragments that haunt the subconscious, these memories that sometimes actually are rather explicit, they're really not weird that we're still having them. They're these formative memories that have been informative to our behaviors, but maybe we never have consciously recognized them as such. So, if you've got any weird memories kind of floating around where you're like, it's so strange that I still think about that, I do recommend that you pay attention to it. In regards to any questions you might have about yourself, it might be the answer that you've been seeking, but you haven't quite connected the dots yet. And you might want to listen to the series on the subconscious from the end of 2022 if you want more help with this work. But I do recommend that if something comes up, you explore the context of that event and then try to disarm it by recontextualizing, by better understanding who was involved, what their motive was for the giving you something that was a positive in your life, but then I'm guessing expecting something in return. You want to better understand what their motherfucking problem was or is on a personality level. Are they like this with everybody? Are they just one instance of somebody manipulating you in this manner and they do it to everyone so you can't even take it personally? What is the broader context of the entire event? Like, were any other factors maybe at play that you didn't recognize the first time around, which now would change the entire meaning of the lesson that you drew? And overall, you're trying to challenge the reality and the infallibility of this lesson, that showing I'm happy to others leads to problems. What rational, logical holes can you punch into that argument if you really search your psyche and your adult awareness now? Then, with all of that work being done, you talk to yourself. You explain to yourself in explicit words, literally talk to yourself, that this was an old event, that this person was a particular way, or circumstances created this sort of impression that you took away from it, and that this isn't reality, or it isn't always reality. This will not always repeat itself, where if you show someone that they did something good for you, a bad thing follows. I also would suggest that you explain to yourself, through literally talking to yourself, that no one can make you do shit at all anymore. So if you show happiness, joy, or pleasure, no one can force you to then behave a certain way in response, because you are not a child anymore, because you know better now, because you are in control, because you will not be coerced, controlled, or manipulated the way that assumedly you once were. This action is the work of mediating between yourself, with a capital S, your manager part, who I'm guessing is shutting down your ability to express joy, and the rest of your mind, all of the parts who would like to be able to have honest relationships with the people you know, in order to inform those younger parts of your brain and the manager part that is ruling them of your very real age, strength, power, autonomy, and wit to this day. You also might want to explain to those parts not only that you are a big, strong adult who will not be controlled, but that part of being a good adult to know and relate with is returning relational goodwill, acknowledging care from others when they provide it, being responsible, aka response able in relationship, right? Engaging with mutually beneficial relationships is very important. You don't want to be the guy who does not acknowledge kindness or does not show their joy or pleasure to others. Imagine it from the other side. If you were the person who is being unacknowledged, written off, probably feared in some way in response for doing something nice for you. It's not a great way to be. Then you're going to want to sit with yourself and discuss the potential for alternate outcomes if you do express your joy to other people, until you finally feel the panic and anxiety diminish about the idea. And instead, a sort of can-do activated attitude and energy will slowly solidify in you as you feel more grown up and powerful in the context of relationships, simply through reminding yourself that you are grown up and powerful, and by recontextualizing any memories that are informing you otherwise. Recognizing, of course, that all of this work probably will take more than one sitting. You'll have to warm your brain up to the idea slowly, think about it repeatedly over days and weeks, and then approach the new behavior when you are ready. You'll know when you're ready. You will feel it in your core. And remember that if it doesn't go as planned, that's okay. One instance is not evidence of a real pattern. So if your first attempt at demonstrating pleasure or joy to another person goes somehow sideways, doesn't really mean anything. Just try again. It's not a big fucking deal. But it probably will go just fine, because most people are happy to make others happy, and that is all that they're aiming for. Let someone make your day a little better and tell them so. It'll make their day better. Hell, it might even improve their entire week or month or year or life to know that they inspired joy. They sparked joy for you, for another being. And hopefully, you're going to feel the same way when you recognize the joy that you can bring to others simply for acknowledging the positives that they bring to you. No matter what happens, do remember you're taking big steps here. Reward yourself with recognition for making the effort and changing your behavior. Hell, reward yourself for even reaching out to me and asking the goddamn question. It is scary to give power away socially, and you are healing relational trauma just by doing it, just by considering why you stop yourself And just by trying something new, no matter what happens, you are doing the healing work if you make that change. And that is my answer to the listener question, why can't I show my pleasure/enjoyment to others? These are my best guesses, and I do hope that it helps you break that pattern of asceticism that you demonstrate to everyone outside of yourself. And from this listener, it sounds like asceticism is an issue in your own personal dealings as well. I hope this helped. Let me know. Shoot me another email or comment if you have more questions. And until we speak again next time, y'all, hail yourself and cheers. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.